worries. We're all good. So welcome to One Heart, One Mind Sunday service. And I'm going to invite our musical talent, I'm like looking for the right word, today to kick us off. Jackie, would you like to do an opening song for us?
Okay, yes, thank you so much. I've got a roof over my head. I've got a warm place to sleep. Some nights I lie awake counting gifts instead of counting sheep. I've got a heart that can hold love, and I've got a mind that can think. There may be times when I lose the light and let my spirit sink, but I can't stay depressed. When I remember how I am blessed, grateful, grateful, truly grateful I am. Grateful, grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful. In a city of strangers, I've got a family of friends. No matter what rocks and brambles fill the way, I know that they will stay until the end. And I feel a hand holding my hand. It's not a hand you can see, but on the road to the promised land, this hand will shepherd me through delight and despair, holding tight and always there. Grateful, grateful, truly grateful I am. Grateful, grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful. It's not that I don't want a lot, or hope for more, or dream of more, but giving thanks for what I've got makes me so much happier than keeping score. In a world that can bring pain, I will still take each chance, for I believe that whatever the terrain, my feet can learn to dance. Whatever stone life may sling, we can moan or we can sing. Grateful, grateful, truly grateful I am. Grateful, grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful. Truly blessed and duly grateful.
Oh my goodness, Jackie, that was gorgeous. It made me cry. You brought tears. That was just simply beautiful. And I just love that song. I was thinking, Abigail, that would be perfect for our Thanksgiving service. We'll have to talk, Jackie. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And good morning again. And welcome to those that have popped on. I see you there. And I would like to invite our practitioner of the day, Lissa Lazarro, to do our opening prayer. And she did send me a beautiful quote that I'm going to share with you afterwards. Welcome, Lissa. Good morning.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everybody. And as we sit in the soft, peaceful blessing of that song, can we unite ourselves with a nice deep breath, taking in that spirit that is always present. And I share with you this morning that I awoke with the words of this song in my head. God is my light. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. And I really felt like that was a good beginning to the talk of today and to the whole month that we're dealing with in terms of looking at prosperity and abundance and money. And so I know that there is this one presence and power that is the guardian and guidance and everything of our life and of all of the lives around us. And that each of us is an individual expression of this life, as is every person that we ever come in contact with. And so we are all one. And it's so valuable to have these weekly moments to really focus and remember that, particularly in the midst of the way the world is running these days and the kind of attacks on our unity and oneness. And so anyway, I am grateful for having the possibility to consciously connect and to consciously remember the principles and to be able to have these weeks when we can celebrate and learn and enjoy one another and the presence that is never absence. And so I'm very grateful for this and all our blessings. And I release my word by saying, and so it is. And this is a quote that is from Julia Cameron. What we really want to do is what we're meant to do. When we do what we're meant to do, money comes to us, doors open for us, we feel useful, and the work we do feels like play to us. Although the book is called The Artist's Way, the artist is really any person and their life. And much of her process that she does is bringing adults to play as a means of learning more about yourself and moving forward in your life. And so I was reminded of play and the fact that play is probably what opened a door for me in my life in terms of money and doors opening and so forth. It's like I have always really loved toddlers. And at one point in time, I was in Oklahoma at that time, living there, and somebody told me, you really should go visit the Montessori school, which I did. And I still remember seeing this tiny little boy who was probably 2.5, and he was counting, and he was putting spindles all in the right slots. He had a little thing, you know, it's like a game, a little thing with slots, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 10. And he was putting the right things in. And so I needed to learn more about that. And so I took the Montessori training. And that was just kind of like what opened a door to me in terms of working with young children. And then, of course, I ultimately was assigned to a child who, at the time, apparently we figured he was being abused, although there was not thing. And so anyway, I got personally assigned to him, which was part of what led me then into the emotional issues of children. And then for me, it's like I have constantly looked at trying to find ways to make everything you do be playful, and to keep that child self that we had when we were little, where everything was so thrilling. And I was so reminded of it because this on Thursday, I think it was, I went to the Scripps Aquarium with a group of old ladies. And I tell you, the majority of people there were children under 3. And they were there with their parents. And it was just a dream. I mean, see the big aquarium, and they've never seen it before, and they're just little faces up there and their hands on there trying to touch the fish. And anyway, it was just glorious. And remembering that space that one can have when something new approaches, and when it's something that you fall in love with. And so at any rate, that's kind of my story in relationship to this concept of doing what you love to do. And I sidetracked one of my other loves, which is writing, which I only did sort of piecemeal. And so it's never made me a whole lot of money. But I've discovered now that it's like the pleasure that I can pursue just to pursue. And so finally, I've also noticed, in terms of, there are a lot of very famous people who have made a lot of money and are happy, who have done it through doing what they love. I still remember there's a famous pianist whose name I can't remember, who as an old man had serious arthritis in his hands, but he could still play the piano. He was a professional classical pianist. And it's like whatever that muscle memory was and whatever his love of it was, it came through even late. So that's my story.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I really love the idea of approaching everything as play. And I've always liked Julia Cameron's approach to that. It's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes, you're welcome. And now do we have
we're gonna have some more music from Jackie. Yeah.
But don't we have the
yes, I'm sorry. You are so right.
I forget what you call it, but we have something.
We do. Thank you. Thank you for the reminder.
The October affirmation. Today, I rise above circumstances. I draw my awareness to the present moment, free of judgment, opinion, or expectation. In everything, I see an underlying perfect unity. I live in a consciousness of love, peace, and gratitude. In this way, I consciously co-create my life. And so it is.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you so much. And now we have Jackie.
Now we get to hear Jackie.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Lisa, in honor of those beautiful words, I'll sing, God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. One more time, y'all. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Yes, very good. I heard you singing. So, since God is our source and our power, gives us everything we need, then we can just release and let go, y'all, right? I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. And I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Here we go one more time. I release, let it go. Let the spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Woo-hoo. That is just you going? Beautiful. We love that song. My dog Charlotte thinks I'm crazy over here. She's laying on the floor going, what are you singing about? So good morning, everyone. So nice to see everyone this morning. So glad you're here. And welcome to One Heart, One Mind, Center for Spiritual Living's online spiritual community. You know, and that's what we are. I talked about that a little bit last week, that we're a spiritual community. And welcome to our Sunday service. And you know, I want to remind us, I'm sure you already know this, but the only thing that we really ask of you while you're here is that you be open. You know, that you stay open to something that sounds genuine or true, just for you. You know, Howard Thurman wisely said that there is something that waits and listens for the sound of the genuine in yourself. You know, don't you know when something hits you, it just hits you, that's true. And only you know that, you know, we can recognize when something hits that chord of the genuine in us, you know, and we know what something like that feels like just for us. So I invite us all just to stay open to that sound of the genuine within yourself. So, you know, and there might be things that you hear that just don't sound that genuine to you, and other things that really touch you and really hit you, and you can feel them. So this October, we're talking about financial prosperity, you know, what it is, what our relationship is with it, and that's kind of the key to the way we express the abundance of the infinite supply in our lives, you know, our relationship to it. You know, what we think about it, how we use it, what it stirs in us. Does it bring up a genuine sense of appreciation, or does it bring up a sense of fear? You know, when we think of money, are we think of in gratitude, or are we swimming in the fear of not enoughness? You know, so I'm just going to jump in with my true confession here. I spent much of my life being scared to death of money. You know, when I was a kid, we never really seemed to have enough money. We had a really big family, but there never seemed to be enough money to get the things we needed or wanted. And maybe what was even scarier than that was that there never seemed to be a way to get the money, I'm going to just pause and ask everybody to please mute. Thanks. No matter how hard we worked, it just seemed like there was never really enough. You know, money made me feel limited and less than the people who had more than I did. And it was pretty clear that pretty much the only thing my parents ever really thought about, you know, was the topic of money. When money came up, I knew there was going to be drama. You know, there was this kind of overriding haze of lack, you know, that just seemed to kind of hang over everything. So I learned to cringe the very thought of money and to avoid talking about it at all costs. You know, my relationship with money was more like an abusive relationship than a relationship that was built on respect and appreciation and gratitude and flow. And unfortunately, I raised my own children in that kind of that same atmosphere because I didn't really know any better at the time. And so when I began to study metaphysics, and I realized that everything in physical reality is an expression of the infinite supply of God, including money, that everything is sourced from that invisible substance, I was really intrigued and encouraged. Maybe money wasn't so bad after all. But as anyone who has practiced metaphysics for any length of time has realized, there's a huge difference between understanding something intellectually and embodying it. It's a big shift to truly believe something on that subjective or subconscious level. All of us throughout our lives have internalized patterns of thinking and feeling and being. We've created these habitual ways of being, let's call them. And anybody who's ever tried to change a habit knows the challenges that are inherent within trying to make that change. To embody a new truth is to change our old patterns of thinking and feeling and being. And so that's been my challenge around money, and this may ring true for you, it may not. But it's true of all things. We're speaking of money today, but it can be true of health, of anything. To embody and become the truth of God in all things, including money, including prosperity, takes an awareness of how you think about it, what your relationship is with it, and getting into the embodiment of the truth of the divine and letting that flow. There's a funny story. I just ran across this the other day and I thought, I got to share that. It's about a guy named Muldoon. And Muldoon lived alone in the Irish countryside. And he only just had his dog, his pet dog, for company. And one day, his dog died. Poor old Muldoon died. And not Muldoon, poor Muldoon's poor old dog died. So Muldoon went to the parish priest and he said, "Father, my dog is dead. Could you be saying a mass for the poor creature?" And Father Patrick replied, "I'm afraid not. We can't have services for animals in this church. But there's a center for spiritual living down the lane, and there's no telling what they believe. Maybe they'll do something for the creature." And then Muldoon said, "I'll go right away, Father. Do you think $5,000 is enough to donate for the service?" Well, then Father Patrick said, "Oh, sweet Mary, Mother of Jesus, why didn't you tell me the dog was Catholic?" I really wanted to share that story because not only is it kind of funny, but it shows how sometimes money seems to be bigger than our regular life. Somehow our financial life seems to live outside of our regular life, outside of our beliefs and our values. Not always, but sometimes. I always tease that most things I can leave up to God, but the really big stuff like money, I better handle that myself because it's pretty important. So what the heck's money anyway? And why is it so emotionally charged for so many of us? Culturally, it's emotionally charged. Well, I really like it. For most of you we just finished a whole 12 weeks of doing Eric Butterworth's Spiritual Economics. And I like what Butterworth says about money in his book. He says a lot of really great stuff in that book, but he starts out, and I love this. He starts out by differentiating God as the supplier of all things, like all things come from him, like he's so generous. He's just giving us everything we need as human beings, to looking at God as the things themselves. Let me explain. So Butterworth says that God isn't loving. God is the allness of love. That God isn't wise, that God is the allness of wisdom. God is not the dispenser of divine substance, but God is the allness and the ever-present substance in which we live, move, and have our being. God is divine substance, which expresses into the things we need. And Butterworth reminds us that the word substance comes from the Latin word that means to stand under. So there's this substance that stands under everything in the physical world, including us. We stand under the substance, our bodies, our lives, everything. And money is just a symbol of that substance, a symbol of that life energy that we exchange and use. And Butterworth reminds us, and we know this from our own studies in metaphysics, that there is no place where that substance is more present or less present than right where we are. The whole of God's substance is present in its entirety in every point in time and space. Not just some of it, but all of it. And we are empowered to express that substance into our human experience through the pattern of our thinking and feeling, which becomes our state of being. And if I'm scared to death of money, it's going to stay away from me. But if I love and respect the life energy of money and invite it to circulate through my life, then it will. And if I stop the circulation of money, if my only intention is to hold on to money, since it's life energy, we were talking about circulation, how everything flows in the meditation. Since money is just life energy and expression, if I hang on to it, I'll stop its circulation, and that life energy won't flow back to me into my life. And this is true for all of us, in order to keep that energy coming to us, we have to keep the energy circulating, just like a river. Money has to keep flowing, otherwise it stagnates. Circulation keeps it alive and vital, just like we talked about last week and in the meditation. I don't know if any of you have ever done Mary Morrissey's Prosperity Plus program. It was pretty popular. I haven't actually heard many people doing it recently. But in there, she tells this story about going to hear Raymond Charles Barker speak. Now, Barker, if you're not familiar, was a very well-known metaphysician and prosperity teacher. And Morrissey said that Barker, who was in his 70s, showed up elegantly dressed with a head of white hair. And he pulled out several $100 bills from his wallet. He spread them out so everyone could see them. And then he said, "This is money. I love money." And then he proceeded to kiss the money. And Mary recalls that she was horrified, thinking this man wasn't even spiritual. And then Raymond said, "If you had any thought of revulsion, repulsion, or judgment about what you just saw, then that's how you feel about money. Why would money go where it's not loved? Why would you not love the symbol of your freedom?" Now, and then he went on to say, imagine if I had a little boy here and I held him up and said, this is my grandson. I love my grandson, and proceeded to kiss him. If you thought any differently, he said, about me loving money than me loving my grandson, you were programmed that it's not okay to love money. I mean, it's all an expression of the divine. It's just a tool. We love the energy and the source that it represents to us, and we use it in our life. And I truly have come to believe that it's all about our relationship with money, that brings it to us or repels it from us. And of course, again, that's not only true about money, it's true about everything. But we seem to have a lot of charge and negative connotations with money more than anything else. Maybe that's not true for you, and I actually hope that it's not, but it seems to be true for a lot of people. So last week's message, as I said already, was let it flow. And I talked about how everything flows in and through life. Water, electricity, sound, light, and even what appears to be empty space isn't empty at all. It flows with waves of potential energy, waiting to be directed by an observer, by a consciousness, us, our point of consciousness. We are a point of consciousness and divine mind. We are all one. But when we look behind what our brain is telling us we see, there are actually waves and particles kind of shaking and simmering and shimmering and acting nothing like the solid things that we think we see, right? I mean, I look at the chair and it looks solid and it looks like it can support me. But the reality is that this is just a bunch of particles moving and shaking and shimmering. It's crazy. A guy named Donald Hoffman, Dr. Donald Hoffman, he's actually a professor of cognitive science at UC Irvine. And he said that everything we think we see is a construction of the brain, a perpetual hack. I love that. A perpetual hack that hides the complexity of the real world. I really like that. It's a perpetual hack. Everything we see is mostly empty space and bouncing microscopic atoms, but our brain translates it for us so that we can navigate through our world and gather information and what we need to live as human beings in this physical world. But we can't ever forget, let us not forget that we are the ones who determine what experience we draw to us through our perception, through what we see. We can use our perception to focus on lack and limitation and all kinds of problems, or we can see it as live streaming the mind of God. It's our choice. We embody, live stream the truth, the flow of the divine. And because money is an effect, it's a representation of the energy of life, it responds to our consciousness too, just like our bodies and everything in the world of our human affairs. Money is only a symbol, and one that energizes, it's energized with our belief and with our feelings. As we realize that money is neither good nor bad, but just a tool for self-expression, our beliefs and our feelings kind of calm down and align with the truth that substance is always here, always available to us, just like Butterworth told us. It's everywhere present. And then we can realize that we're constantly immersed in this wealth and opulence of God. I like to call it God stuff. And that God never cuts us off. We cut ourselves off. But as we realize that, we can become more trusting, more peaceful, and more gentle around the idea of the flow and the circulation of money in our lives. And I don't know about you, but I know this is true for the more peaceful I become, the more around the idea of money, the better relationship I've built with it, if you will, the more it becomes my friend. And that is a much better relationship than the one that I had when I was younger, that abusive one where I cringed at the thought of it. I'm sure I repelled a lot of money in that way. And then we can get to know our friend better, and money can become just another expression of our own self-worth and our own value. And we must have value, because if the universe didn't want or need us here, we wouldn't be here. God itself, spirit itself, source itself is taking the time and the energy and the thought to be us. We must have some value. If God values us that much, don't you think maybe we should value ourselves that much? And since money is life energy moving through us, it will respond to the value that we place on ourselves. I am valuable. I am standing in the flow, and money flows through me. I think one of the things that kind of gets in my way of expressing God as money is that I give the world a form, the world around me, all those physical things I was talking about that are actually just shaking, simmering, shimmering particles. I give it too much power. Do you ever give the world around you too much power? I think it's because it looks so real and it feels so real, and we live in it. And as human beings, we have to navigate. And I just forget sometimes that this world of form is not causal. It's not creative, it's an effect. And matter can change matter. Matter can move around and impact other matter, but it doesn't create matter. God's substance or God's stuff creates matter. And sometimes I kind of get stuck in that idea that this world is where is my source, and it's not. And I also sometimes, and maybe this happens to you too, I get stuck in that pie concept. Do you know what I mean? That there's only so much pie, and there's only so much for everybody to have out of that pie. There's only so many pieces. And if I have more, then somebody else is going to have less. But again, when we recognize money is only a symbol of wealth, not wealth itself, we realize that we can't drain the universe of wealth. It's infinite. And infinite, and I said this in the meditation, infinite is not a measure of time. Infinite is all things. It's a quality of being beyond time and space. We can think of it this way. If If I enjoy good health, doesn't keep you from having good health. If you're joyously in love, it doesn't mean I can't be joyously in love. But when it comes to wealth, we seem to forget that the substance of God is infinite, just like love, just like enjoyment, just like vibrant health. You know, there is plenty for everyone. There is no famine or lack or limitation of any kind in the infinite presence and substance of the divine. I just really have to remind, I don't know if you're anything like me, but I really have to remind myself of that a lot. Because it's said the world looks so real. And if I have a pie and I cut it up, there are only so many pieces to have. But the avenues and the channels through which infinite supply can flow through me, I can open up and connect with and flow with at any time. You know, years ago, I read that, you've probably heard this too. I think it's pretty old story, that if we divided up all the money in the world and distributed it evenly, each person would have about $8 million. You know, I don't know if that's still true because there's a lot more people in the world, but even if we did that within a few years, the money would be back in the hands of the people that had it originally, because it's never about the money. It's not about the amount of money at all. It's about consciousness. And there is no lack of infinite substance. It's just the conditioning of our minds. If I have a prosperity consciousness, I'm going to prosper. If I have a limited lack consciousness, I'm going to experience lack and limitation. It's just how the law works. It's just the nature of love and love. So let's just take a minute. I always like to throw in something really practical that you can do during your day, you know, just some daily practice to kind of keep standing in the flow and to shift our thinking and feeling and embodiment of the truth. And so today we're talking about money. So how about this? What if consciously, mindfully, you bless others as you're walking through your day? You know, when you're out about in the world, just taking a walk or whatever, you just bless people. You know, to bless means to confer good on. And what if everyone you encounter, you just bless them. You just say, thank you, God, that this person experiences the goodness, the love, and the flow of divine supply today. What if you just said that? And if you do that, and you probably noticed this if you've done it, when you do this for others, you feel energized because you're letting that God energy flow through you to them. We always experience everything at our point of consciousness, and then we hold it for others. Or how about this? How about every time you hear a siren on the street, you stop for a moment and you say a prayer of protection or for peace for anyone who is connected with or affected by that siren, or whatever sparked the siren in the first place. You know, usually we don't even know what the siren's about, but what if we just hold open that space of protection and the flow of good for whomever is involved? I love that idea. I remember one time I was in Prac 2. I wasn't going to say this, but it just popped in my head. I was in Prac 2 and we were on our way. I was in Santa Rosa at Santa Rosa Center for Spiritual Living. And there was a bad accident on the way to the class. And when we got to class, Doris Jones, who was my teacher at the time, said, I bet that accident, the people in those accidents got more prayers than they ever could imagine. I'm sure that was probably true. So how about this? One last thing. How about if we spiritualize, bless, or be grateful for any time we gave anything, anytime money changes hands, you know, anytime we pay a bill, anytime we go to the grocery store or give anything, you know, whatever it is. You know, we could think of it like this. We can either spend our money, or we can be involved in an act of giving, of gratitude and giving as we let our money go, as we let our money circulate. You know, it's an opportunity to circulate that energy of life You know, there's a secular use or a secular idea. Yeah, I'm just paying my bills. And then there's a way to spiritualize it and to become that act of giving and receiving, of giving to others, of keeping the flow going. What if we did that every time money changed hands? Every time there's an exchange of money, we have an opportunity to participate in that law of circulation, in that natural flow of life, and to be grateful and to say thank you that we're contributing, that we have the opportunity to contribute to that flow of life. So as we put money in this kind of larger, proper perspective, and as we recognize that money's not good or bad, it's not good or evil, it's just something that is, you know, it's a tool. And when we align with the infinite substance, the infinite nature that stands under, as Butterworth told us, all things, then we keep it flowing and it's always available. It's no longer this scary taboo topic that we have this bad relationship with. You know, we don't need to hide from it and we don't need to flaunt it. We can just be with it. You know, we free ourselves kind of from that self-imposed boundaries that we create around money. And we just let it be a positive and a creative part of our meaningful, purposeful, joyous life. So let's pray about that. So taking a nice deep breath in, let's stand in the flow of the divine, the flow of good, the flow of God, the flow of the allness of being. Oh, that is right where we are. Oh, I connect with that. We are all connected with that. There is only God and we are it. And I speak my word for and about all of these lovely God beings on this call with me, God valuing and expressing them as expressions of itself. I speak my truth forward about each and every person on this call, everybody that isn't on this call, for the entire world, for the very mother herself that we walk upon every day and all its creatures and all of its systems and all of its flow. I speak my word forward about all of this, that there's a shift. That there's a shift in consciousness, an opening and allowing the goodness of the divine to flow effortlessly through us and express in ways that we have to date never thought possible. Surprise us, love us, be us, move through us, use us. Divine Spirit, creative source of our being. So I just rest in that with deep gratitude. And gratitude is that creative energy that opens us even wider and magnifies the sense of being even further. Just relax in that, knowing all is well. As I release my word into the capable hands of law, which always says yes. And I know that as I have done my work, I just allow spirit to do spirit's work. And we rest in that. And together we say, and so it is. And so it is. All right. Well, that was fun. And I believe, you know, it's so funny. Thank you, Abigail. I wrote down who was doing the benediction and now it totally escaped me. Is it
I
you?
am.
Oh, good. I'm like, I can't relate.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll put up the little screen.
Yeah, so this is a great, I guess it's a great feeling for me to be able to be doing the closing prayer today, because I get to talk about abundance and money and giving, which is just exactly what this whole talk has been about: loving ourselves, loving money, loving life, and just allowing that flow. So I see it as a great opportunity to give to One Heart, One Mind in this present moment, to feel that shift in consciousness, that understanding of that giving and receiving as really truly being one flow, one motion. So if you'd like to give to One Heart, One Mind, we have easy ways to do that. One is through Venmo, which is very simple, and just send it on at One Heart, One Mind Center. If you'd like, you can also mail a check to Jim Massapus, our assistant treasurer, and his address is usually in the chat room.
All right. Okay, did this slide switch? Can we see this?
Yes, that's perfect. Okay, so I'm going to read the sacred giving. Everything flows from the nature of God's good. We receive from this flow. We give from this flow. We give in gratitude and in love. We have faith in the infinite giving nature of spirit. And so it is.
So it is.
Oh, it is. Oh, thank you, Related. We'll come back to you in a minute for the benediction, but in the meantime, Yvonne, where are you? Oh, there you are. Right in front of you. Is going to give us some announcements.
I am. Monday evening. Please join us while we silently pray for our One Heart, One Mind Center. It is said that the power of silent prayer is that it leads to a deep friendship with God. That's kind of exciting. Tuesday, and that prayer circle is from 6 to 6:20. It's not very long, but it just is a really nice way to calm down from the day and get ready for the rest of the week. Tuesday evening spiritual learning, 6 to 7 o'clock. We will continue visioning a spiritual practice workshop. This will be week 4. I think it's our final week, and is facilitated by Reverend Michelle and Practitioner Ray Lane. And we attendees find this has really been helpful for us. We really like it. I want to remind everybody about unexpected income. Our unexpected income fundraiser continues. In order to have pleasure and fun, have the pleasure and fun of receiving funds that are unexpected, you have to work on noticing them and then tithing 10% of those funds to our center. And we had a wonderful, wonderful, huge tithing this last week. It's pretty exciting, Rob. Be sure, was it exciting, Rob?
I had been sitting on it for a bit, but I did want to announce that. So that part of it was kind of fun.
Great.
And being the treasurer, I can appreciate that end of it too.
Good, perfect. So be sure that you mark your donations and as unexpected income, so we know where they go in the little jars. And then I wanted to remind everybody about the Kindness Fund. Don't forget about it. You can participate by delivering kindness items to those who live close to you, offering ideas of things that make a good kindness gift or donation to the Kindness Fund. I'm in the process of thinking about making some little things that people would enjoy seeing. They have little angel wings on them, so I'm excited.
Oh,
fun. Then the Music Fund is also available for your enjoyment. Don't forget about that. It has provided the wonderful music we've been having and will have in the future. Just make sure that when you contribute for it, if you make a donation, that it's marked for the Music Fund. And same with the Kindness Fund. So I think that's all my things.
wonderful. I did want to say that I've been in touch with Rabbi David Lazarro, and we are going to do an interfaith service. We're going to do it Saturday, December 3rd, I think at 10 o'clock, but more will be available about that. We still have to get together and plan, but we did finally come up with a date, which is great. So that'll be fun. And I wanted to say that this orchid behind me was from the Kindness Fund. And, you know, my beloved Oliver passed away a couple of weeks ago, and the center, the Kindness Fund, sent me that via Jean. It was wonderful. So I appreciate that. And anything else? Let's see. I'm going to invite Relaine to do our benediction, and then we'll have Jackie, who I have to say, I'm really, really enjoying your music, Jackie. Thank you for coming. She can do our music afterwards. All right, Relaine, you are on, kiddo.
Yeah, I was just thinking that Jackie could just sing that song again, the Grateful Blessing song, and that would be a great closing prayer. So let's just close our eyes and feel that energy of this morning, of that beautiful music, and Reverend Michelle's talk, and Eric Butterworth's words on abundance and the unformed substance that's all around us. And I just know that we're so grateful. We're so very grateful for all of you and for all those who aren't here, because we're all interconnected as one. And I just know that this talk is inspirational and helps us in spiritual ways and in practical ways, so that we can all feel good at being better human beings and better connected with one another and this earth. And so I'm so grateful, and I release this prayer with a shift in consciousness of abundance and prosperity and flow. And I know that all of you as well feel the shift in consciousness, and I release it together with you, and we say, and so it is.
And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you. Go. You're on, Jackie.
Okay, thank you. And so it is. So thank you again for having me here today. And Reverend Michelle, I really, really loved your talk today. Really loved your words. And I feel that if we do, like, I love the practical part as well. And if we do the things that Reverend Michelle said and some other things that were said today, that we will be able to have better days. Like, I know, like, better days will surely come, right? Better days will surely come. Just you keep on holding on. Every day will be much sweeter than the day before. All you have to do is keep on holding on. Keep holding on. Someday soon the rain will end. And better days will come again. Every day will be much sweeter than the day before. All you have to do is keep on holding on. Keep holding on. So start each day with a smile and look toward the light. It's only a matter of time and it won't be long. Just keep holding on. Keep holding on. Better days will surely come if we keep in the flow and bless others as we walk around the day. Just keep our consciousness clean, yes, and keep holding on. Just keep holding on. Thank you.
Oh, gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. I really, really enjoy your music. Thank you. You have such a lovely voice. Just an angelic voice. Really beautiful. And thank you so much. So that's the end of our formal service, and I invite you to hang on and just join the conversation afterwards as we just say hello to each other.